Hi everyone, this is David Lausch, and this post is on Chapter 1, Kubow and Fossum's Comparative Education Exploring Issues in International Context text. And I wanted to briefly post some of the passages that were meaningful or spoke to me. These may not speak to you at all, and that's fine. But it might be a place where we can start discussion, or at least show you kind of what I think is important for you to perhaps do when you're reading the text, meaning selecting just a few key passages from the chapters that you read and storing them somewhere. I think not all of us have photographic memories. And I think we can lose the ideas of text over time. And so we need to be concise as possible and to write down what is meaningful or speaks to us somewhere. That's just my perspective. Again, you don't need to watch these little videos. These will be short, brief snippets, but may give us a starting point and or just give you an idea of kind of what I think is a good idea for how to take notes for this course and kind of how to approach key takeaways, I'd say, for the content. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statements and questions that really I thought were interesting on page 4, 5, 16, 22, and 24. I'll read them briefly, give a couple thoughts, and that'll be it. Alright, page 4. Although each successive generation has had to deal with the complex interplay of social, cultural, political, and economic factors and their impact on education, what will distinguish educational debates and reforms in the first part of the 21st century will be how nations will educate students for a global world in light of nation-state allegiances, especially in light of changes in technology and mass communication that challenge local and national borders. I think this course and this content come at a very interesting time in our nation's and the world's history. A lot of nation actors, let's call them, are really exploring more of an insular approach to lots of different policies, but education as well. And I believe that that's either trickling down to the local levels, or at the local levels, actually, they're pushing back on the federal systems, not just in the US, but in Russia, China, India, really throughout the world. And so I think the impact that this will have on our social, cultural, political, and economic systems will be quite interesting to think about. And I think we need to start anticipating what that will do for us as educators, either in the classroom or in other educational situations. Meaning if you're nursing or some other field, I think again, trying to remember that looking inward and only depending on localized knowledge and systems may not benefit the people who we're educating or trying to take care of or whatever. So again, going forward, I think this course is really, I hope, going to be impactful to us, not just for content, but also to really think about how we're going to apply what we learn about other systems in our respective fields. All right, page 5. Do educational practices maintain societal status quo? What do you guys think? I think they do, and I think that we're seeing a huge schism in our political system right now as a result. I believe that the civil rights movement is still going on. we think of it in the past, 60s, perhaps bleeding into the 70s, but actually I believe that we're seeing still societal marginalization in different areas throughout our country, but also throughout the world. And that's because the societal status, the status quo, has been maintained where certain individuals remain in power. And that's based on race, economic status, gender. And so I think we need to, as educators, we have to remember that it's not just about teaching our students or those who are around us that work for us, that it's not just about how to analyze content or what that content is, but really to think about are we contributing to a system that is maintaining the status quo for individuals, for all individuals, for certain individuals. I think again, it's not just about analysis and knowledge and content, but really really rethinking how our educational practices. What are we doing as a result of how we disseminate information and how we teach it, and what our expectations are of our students? Is it coming from a cultural perspective, a certain racial perspective, position of power, gender, again, etc. Page 16. We're at 6 minutes right now, so I'm trying to go quickly. Knowledge gained within the field has continued to target high policy circles such as governmental bureaucracies and international organizations. Comparative education's potential use as a catalyst for educator reflection analysis has not yet been realized. And again, so this kind of goes to what I said before, which is I think that right now we're in a very interesting time that this content can be used and should be used for us to really critically reflect and analyze, where are we going and what's going to happen as a result of that in the field of education, and perhaps we should start to really push that insular mentality or status quo or system that is either in place or we might be heading towards. Page 22, comparative inquiry causes people to widen their conceptual lenses to see how seemingly similar issues manifest themselves in diverse settings. This enables people to see the issues at play in their own societies, to behold educational challenges from new angles for the purpose of informing their decisions. So again, looking outside of ourselves for conceptual lens perspective. What's the benefit of looking at other systems, other diverse settings or systems, and how is this going to play in society? That's kind of what really Kubow and Fossum are really focusing on for this for their text content. The last one I thought was kind of interesting, page 24. The authors quote George Bearday in 1964, explained that it is self-knowledge born of awareness of others that is the finest lesson comparative education can afford. And the authors ask the questions, what have you learned about yourself through other people, other cultures, and other backgrounds? So again, not just using this content or other content to challenge ourselves, but let's be introspective, retrospective, and think about just in our everyday lives. What are we learning from other people? What are we learning from other people outside of our cultures that have different backgrounds? And how can we apply that understanding? So not going beyond really text content and thinking about how can we use what we've learned in our daily lives to challenge systems, to rebuild or to push others to think about really bringing in perspectives, whether that's political, economic, societal, or just educational values, and applying that either as educators in our teacher spaces or in other work settings. That's at 10 minutes, so take care, everyone.